this video, I will review the K-91 2 or version 2, which is a new tier 9 Russian premium medium tank. So first let's go and take a look around of this tank. This tank is like the K-91, but the turret is in the middle of the hull. So let's go now and check the crew of this tank. Here we have 4 crew members: commander, gunner, driver, and loader. Let's talk about now the gun of this tank. We have here a 100mm caliber gun with a 300 alpha damage, which can go up to 375. Now the DPM of this tank is 2600. The accuracy of this gun we have here is 0.34 dispersion value and 1.92 aim time. The gun operaction of this tank is 6 degree. The turret traverse speed is 47 degree, which is an average medium tank, definitely not fast. The HP of this tank is 1.5k. This tank, I will check the armor of this tank at the end of this video, but this tank doesn't really have that much armor. Now, this tank weighs in 47.5 tons with a 900 horsepower. This means we have here a 55 km per hour for speed and 18 km per hour over speed. This tank actually will go with 55 forward at all time. Now the whole forward speed is actually really fast, 52.15 degree per sec. This tank turns his hull really fast, but the turret not as fast as his hull. So the concealment of this tank is good. You can get up this to 700. We will configure this, but the view range of the tank is 390 meters, which is also good. So let's go now and configure this tank. First, with the field modification, this at max level, and here again we have the view range module, but this will give us the reduced reverse speed of this tank, which is, you definitely don't want to do that. Now here you can increase the DPM of this tank if you want, but this will make the gun more inaccurate. So no, let's select even this, but this will reduce the DPM of this tank, but will make the gun more accurate. So let's go with this field modification, and that's it basically. And with this, but this again will give us dispersion value, so only this to make the gun more accurate. Now let's select all the good crew skills what we can have here for this medium tank. Extra camo paint. Let's select the food and the big repair kit and the big med kit here. So the first slot is mobility. You can turbocharge tank if you want, or you can add ventilation or this stabilizer. In the second slot we have scouting or survivability, so let's go with that configuration here. Let's add the stabilizer in the turbocharge slot. In the second slot, for the survivability, let's add the ventilation, and in the third slot let's add the gun armor of this tank. So the first ammunition type is APCR with 248 millimeters of base penetration value with 1450 meters per sec shell release speed, which is good. And this shell costs only 945 credits, which means you can farm with this tank because this tank is a tier 9 premium tank. Now the heat ammunition with only 300 millimeters of base penetration value, not as high, and only we have 900 meters per sec shell to speed. It's definitely good for a heat shell, but it's not as fast. Now this one shell will cost 4,800 credits, which is not that good of a deal because this one shell will deal only 300 alpha damage, and you have to pay 4,800 for only 300 alpha damage, which is not as great. Now the HE has 50 millimeters of base penetration value with 800 meters per sec shell to speed, even slower, and with a 500 max high roll of damage, but it's really cheap, only 465 credits. Let's go and check the stats now. 3k DPM here. The dispersion value is 0.29, which can be considered as an accurate gun. Aim time 1.75, quick aiming gun. And now you have 5.884 second for a 300 alpha damage, which is good, definitely good. And we have good stabilization here. The camo 648. If you want to boost, you have to switch here with the first you have to switch to scouting, and you have to add the low exhaust system, this, and now you have 786. Even you can boost this if we add here the low exhaust directive. Now 826, really good camo value, so if you want you can snipe with this tank and the gun will make this possible with this modification. So let's switch back here to the ventilation. So we have here, as I said, good gun now, really good gun here, and 3k DPM. It's okay. It's a tier 9 tank. So yeah. The concealment now 640. This is also good. This is also a good entry level camo value. This is good. And the view range is 451 meter. So let's go and check the armor of this tank. Here in the lower plate 133, upper plate 135, even 84. Here in the turret we have around the big cupolas here to the left 152 millimeter armor. In the turret 265, 271, and other side 250, 75, 65, 70, cupola 106. So big two cupolas here with 160, 152, and the front here is 195, 195. Now the interesting thing about this tank, the top of the turret can be overmatched, because I have here 152 millimeter caliber gun with heat, 360 millimeter heat, and you can't overmatch the top of this gun, which is really interesting. Not even 155 millimeter caliber can overmatch this. Only the Jack Panzer 100 can overmatch this with AP or heat. That's it. So let's now check the armor in the side. Here we have from even 400 to 171, 900, 88, 95, 96, 88, and 8. Here in the cupola around 107. In the hull 160, but only 60 all over. So only the front we have here on 70. The rest is 60 millimeter, which is bad. The other side 45, 60, 69, 45. Other side same configuration. 195, 100 here, 95, and here 75 in the gun mantlet side, 60. So this tank, and 55 here. So this tank doesn't really have any good armor whatsoever. This tank can't side scrape, because in the side scraping position the whole front of this tank will be green, and we have two cupolas here, so no side scraping in this tank. In 6 degree of depression, this tank will have more armor in the turret, but with these two big cupolas, it just doesn't have any sense and chance to play in hold down position. So this tank can't play in side scraping position and can't play in hold down position because of the two cupolas, and the overall armor is bad on this tank. So the conclusion is I don't really see, and I don't understand the purpose of this tank. This tank doesn't excel in any direction. It's an average tank. It's like an average normal tank. Nothing special about this. You have, let's say you have a good gun, quick aiming and okay accuracy, but the DPM is 3k, 300 alpha damage. It's not special, not even 320 alpha damage. I mean, it's a tier 9 medium tank. The speed is okay, 55, view range is okay, camo is okay, so everything is okay about this tank, but nothing excels about this. So it's an average tank. I don't understand the purpose of this tank and why Wargaming created this tank, because it's not special. It's not special in any mean. So yes, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and leave your comments down below. What do you think? What's the purpose of this tank?